I am letting everybody know right now, man. Like, don't let this Yankees team be good. Don't let this Yankees team be back to being the Yankees, back to being this elite, evil empire type team again. Please don't let that happen, because if you let this happen, I'm going to be the biggest asshole, pompous, prick Yankees fan, arrogant, cocky, whatever adjective you can find. Oh, man, I am going to be the biggest of that. Yeah, I am ready. After suffering the absolute hell that we all suffered last year, if we bounce back with a year that's better than good, that's great. Oh, boy. I hope you're not sensitive. I hope you don't follow me on social media. I hope if you are not a Yankees fan, you don't run into me in real life, because I'm going to be such a piece of shit. And I just can't wait. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 657 of the podcast. The 6-1 Yankees. I repeat, the 6-1 first place Yankees. Maybe for one more time, I'll repeat this. The 6-1 first place New York Yankees take 2 in Arizona this week, and now they head back home. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. Don't let this happen. Let's get into the intro. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for 3. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
You guys trying to close the show. She was doing a great job of feeding. That is over.
Coming up, go, KP. Don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees
All right.
win. The Yankees win.
Yes, they did. They definitely won. Definitely won. Not a bad start, folks. That is not a bad start to the season for your 2024 New York Yankees. Welcome to episode 657 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game. We also do MMA on occasion. But we are doing Yankees, covering the Yankees in this episode because, my God, have they started off on a pretty good note. Not a bad way to start, man. You're on the road to start the season for 7 games in the Midwest, and you take 6 of 7. You got that part out of the way. That part of the schedule is over with. You don't have to worry about that. You're only playing Houston one more series, and that's going to be in the Bronx. So you've already clinched the tiebreaker. Do the two sides finish with the same record. You faced Arizona. You're done with them. And now, yeah, like to be able to sweep a tough Houston team, your arch nemesis, and now go and face the reigning NL champions who have an elite pitching staff, and to take 2 out of 3 there, that's pretty damn good. That was an odd time to yawn. It was like I think I had to sneeze and yawn at the same time. And yeah, like I don't believe that it's too early. You know, people talk about too early. No, the season can be won and lost in April. This game that the Yankees won today, 6-5 in extras, Counts the same as any game they're going to play in September. If they're still in the race, which, God forbid, let's hope they are. Yeah, I mean, listen, these games are huge. These games helped the Yankees win the division a couple years ago, right? When they had a very mediocre second half. Remember that season? They were on fire, playing .700 ball almost in the first few months of the season. And then they run into, I think it was like Houston, and they were never really the same team after that. And they had a .500 second half, but they won the American League East because of that first half. So to start off against two tough teams and go in 6-1 like that, huge. Now you're going into Friday's game, opening day, on a good note in the Bronx. That's going to be a fun game to see. Going home, and Juan Soto, I'm sure, is going to get a big ovation or a lot of positive things going home now. So let's get into episode 57, episode 657 here. And let's start recapping game one of this series. The Yanks won 5-2 over the Diamondbacks. It was Luis Gil versus Ryan Nelson. Top of the second, the Yanks are on the board early. Oswaldo Cabrera, RBI base hit. Gleyber Torres, an RBI double. 2-0. Third inning, Anthony Volpe rips an RBI single. Then the Diamondbacks start playing. They just start throwing the ball all over the place off of the Austin Wells sac fly. You get an E7 in the outfield. Then you get an error on the mound. And it's 5-0 Yankees after 2.5 innings. Bottom of the third comes, and Marte hits a fly ball, gets the sac fly. It's 5-1 Yankees. And then the seventh inning, Marte, another sac fly, this one off Luke Weaver, to make it 5-2 Yankees. And that was the final score at the end of the game. 5-2. Yankees win the first one. 5 runs on 8 hits, 3 extra base hits, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. They were 2 for 10 in scoring position, and they grounded into 1 double play. Nelson, they got to him pretty quickly. 5 runs on him and 2 2/3 innings, and he was out of there right after that. Volpe had a huge night, 4 for 4, couple doubles, an RBI. We'll talk about him. Gleyber Torres was 2 for 5 with a double and RBI. Oswaldo, 1 for 4 and RBI. Wells, an RBI. Soto, a couple of walks. On the mound for the Yankees in this game, as I said, Luis Gil. And I liked what I saw, man. He went 4 2/3, allowed a run, 1 hit, 3 walks, struck out 6, threw 84 pitches, got the no decision. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a little annoying to see Boone come out of the dugout there with 2 outs in the 5th inning and pull him. He can't get his win. Yeah, you obviously want to go complete 5. That's like the bare minimum, but he's coming off the Tommy John, and they're trying to preserve guys and prevent injuries. What's one more batter, but he pulls him with 4 2/3, doesn't get the win, but he looked really good, man. Luis Gil looked excellent. His fastball sitting around 98 to 100 with life, with a ton of ride on it. That strikeout to Walker in the bottom of the first was just clipping the edges, just a perfect spot. He's just a guy with filthy stuff. The ball just jumps out of his hand. Some guys you could just, man, it reminds me so much of when the Yankees first called up Luis Severino. Just the high velo, great movement on his secondary off speed. Like, it's Luis Gil. Now, he's got some areas of improvement, right? He's got some command issues. The 3 walks in this game didn't help his pitch count, but, that's something that's going to improve as he continues to refine his secondary pitches. The changeup is improving. It's something he's worked on in camp. I would like to see a little more separation between the changeup and the four seam. If that four seam's going to sit 98 to 100, it's it's tough seeing that changeup sometimes top out at 93. There's not a lot of separation there. He threw some 89-mile-an-hour ones, which was much better. And then that slider. He struck out Corbin Carroll in the first inning with the slider. He went high up with it, picked up the K. And if that pitch, man, if he can develop that pitch just a little bit more, it is a filthy pitch. It's got sharp break, and he can kind of cut it too. I'm excited for this kid. And yeah, like he's got a lot. He's raw. But it's also important to remember that because of the Tommy John, he missed basically all of 2022, and then all of 2023. So he had zero time to refine anything. This is him. The first time we're seeing him in years. So I think the command stuff is going to depict whether or not he's a starting pitcher long-term or in the bullpen. But for now, he's their number 5 starter until if Cole gets back healthy. In the bullpen in this game, Weaver, Birdie, Gonzalez combined to go 4 1/3, 1 run, 1 strikeout. Weaver, 2 1/3 innings. He pitched the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And he allowed 1 run. The first run of the year allowed by the bullpen. But he was important because his innings eating saved the top arms for the rest of the series. So Weaver went 2 1/3. Birdie came in, pitched a scoreless 8th. He is good. This is another random that the Yankees might be turning into something special. He's just got good stuff. He throws very hard. His off-speed stuff has got like the slider, filthy movement to it. And then after him, it was Victor Gonzalez. Threw a scoreless 9th, got the save. Struggled a little bit. Game 2 of the series was the Yankees' only loss of the season, where they lost this one 7-0 to the D-backs. It was Nestor Cortez going up against Zach Gallen. Bottom of the first, Nestor Cortez surrenders 3 RBI singles. It's already 3-0. No score until the bottom of the 7th when the D-backs double it up. Cousins is in the game, and he allows a 3-run home run. It's 6-0 Diamondbacks. Bottom of the 8th, you get the Austin Wells pass ball. It's 7-0 Diamondbacks, and that was the final score. No runs for the Yankees on 3 hits. All of them were singles, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 0 for 1 in scoring position, and they hit into 2 double plays. Zach Gallen ended up going 6 shutout. The Yankees had him early. They had him on the ropes early, and they let him settle in. In the first inning, you had the Gleyber Torres walk, but Soto hits into the double play, 5-4 or 4-5-3. No. 4-3-2 double play. Yeah. Nope. Wasn't a 4-3-2. I don't know. I forget. But in the first inning, Gleyber walks, Soto double play. And then Judge walks with 2 outs, but Rizzo grounds out. Second inning comes. Volpe and Oswaldo pick up singles with 2 outs. Trevino strikes out. So they had plenty of opportunities to score on Zach Gallen, but early on they couldn't capitalize, and he pretty much cruised the rest of the way. Innings 3-6, got the damn thing done. He had 3 singles in this game to Soto, Oswaldo, who also walked, and Volpe, and then Judge and Gleyber also walked. That was it. That was your only offense. Nestor Cortez with another bend but not break. I don't know, man. He got off to a very abysmal start in the first inning, just throwing meatballs. He got bailed out too by that bunt double play. It's getting tough. Like one of my pet peeves with starting pitchers And this is something that doesn't show up on the box score, which is why it's a pet peeve, because people will just point to the box score, the final line. When pitchers put your team in a hole early on in the game, I just think it's like, it's not something that's tangible. Like, it's bad for confidence. It's a psychological hit on the bats. You put your team in a hole like that, the offense is going to have to grind extra hard, because they know we're working so hard just for us to score 3 runs and make this, 0-0 again, quote unquote. And to do it twice already in 2 starts, it's rough. Which, that's why I like when the Yankee bats score early. They haven't done it yet this year in the first inning, but when the Yankees get on the board first in the first inning, that's why I love it, because it's such a morale hit for the opposing team, and statistically it gives you a better chance to win the game. But he did find it, the rest of the way. He had a 1-2-3 second. He pitched a scoreless third. He pitched into and out of trouble in the 4th inning, and then he had another 1-2-3 in the 5th. And then top of the 6th comes, he issues a walk, and then he's pulled right there. I just think he's still, like, even in innings 2 to 6, he wasn't great pitching. Like, I don't know, man. He's final line in the game, 5+ innings, 3 runs, 8 hits, 2 walks, couple strikeouts, no home runs, but he gets the loss. He was getting hit very hard, missing spots. Like, I think he's finished as an elite guy. I think the league has definitely figured him out. With Luis Gil, young talent arising, with Clayton Beeter, major league ready, I wonder how long it's going to take. I wonder if Nestor Cortes is better in long relief. Do the Yankees eventually go there? Do they wait until Garrett Cole comes back to do it? Is that the guy who gets booted by then if he's not pitching well? Maybe he's just an innings eater, a mop-up man in the bullpen. Does he have a bigger role in the bullpen? I don't know. But I don't know if I can watch him start games in a postseason. I could tell you that. He's just throwing softballs. He throws softballs. He had a great 2021, like 90 innings. Then he had a great full season across 2022. But he's just the type of pitcher he is. Is it crazy to think that he's been figured out? His stuff is just very underwhelming. He doesn't have great stuff. He doesn't have crazy movement. His velo sits in the low 90s. And if his location is off, that was his thing when he was a good pitcher, a great pitcher, it was his location. But if his location's off, he's not going to have himself an elite day. Right-handed batters are just going to sit on that backdoor slider and crush it. And it's, cutter high, elevate eye levels. It only works for so long when you don't have great stuff. And if you're missing your location, I'm sorry. So I don't know that Nestor Cortes is bound to remain in this rotation all year. I think at some point we're going to find that out. But hey, for now, we give him credit because at the end of the day, he's given the Yankees 2, again, serviceable starts by keeping them in the game. The bullpen in this game wasn't great. 3 innings, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts. Gonzalez got the 6th, gave up 2 runs. He is just fucking struggling. Not confident seeing him on the mound. He was supposed to be their new Wandy Peralta. And then Cousins comes in, pitches some of the 7th and 8th. 2 runs, an earned run, and then a home run. The home run was the 2 runs. It was a 2-run bomb. Yeah, he ended the game. Cousins. Did you know that Cousins is Kirk Cousins' cousin? That's like Yes's new talking point where they always have one of those stupid things every year where they say 8 billion times. And that was game 2. That was game 2 where the Yankees lost 7-0. Game 3 was much better. This was an actual exciting game. The Yankees took this 6-5 in extra innings, 11 innings. This was Carlos Rodon versus Merrill Kelly, who pitched in the WBC last year. Bottom of the second, Alexander hits a solo home run off Rodon. It's 1-0 D-backs. Top four, Aaron Judge turns on an goes inside out on a fastball and picks up his first home run of the season, a 2-run shot to put the Yankees up 2-1. Bottom five, you get Ketel Marte, hitting a solo home run off Rodon, and it's 2-2. Ninth inning comes, and both sides go 1-2-3, so that brings us to extras. Go to the top of the 10th. Alex Verdugo gets his first jack of the year, a deep one on a 2-run bomb in the gap. Ghost runner scores, so it's 4-2. Bottom of the 10th, Clay Holmes is in for the Yankees. Getting ground balls, but Volpe makes an error short. And then after that, Corbin Carroll knocks an RBI single. And it's 4-4. So there goes your Verdugo home run. Top of the 11th comes McGow. Balks to Juan Soto. Juan Soto points it out right away. This guy knows. I just love Soto's knowledge of everything. John Birdie scores. The Yanks go up a run. And then Aaron Judge comes to the plate and rips an RBI double. I don't know why with a base open. I have no idea why the Diamondbacks chose to pitch to Judge and why they didn't just walk him or at the very least pitch around him. But they chose to pitch to Aaron Judge with the base open, and they got bit. And so the Yankees were up 6-4 after 10.5 innings. Bottom of the 11th comes Caleb Ferguson's in for Holmes, and Barossa rips an RBI single. It's 6-5, but fortunately that'd be it. The Yankees would win 6-5, 8 hits, 3 extra base hits, a walk, 7 strikeouts, 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position, and they hit into 2 more double plays. Against the veteran right-hander Merrill Kelly, didn't do much. He went 6 scoreless. Glaber, Judge, and Rizzo had 2 hits in this game. Judge had 3 RBIs. Again, he got his first homer of the season, his second double, and he walked as well in this game. Verdugo, his first home run, 2 RBIs, and Soto was 0-5. He's in a little bit of a mini slump, Soto, but I expect him to break out of it in the Bronx on Friday this weekend. It's going to be fun. Rodon pitched in this game for the Yankees. More on him later. And the bullpen, you know what? We'll get to Rodon in a second after break. But the bullpen went 5 2/3, 3 runs, no earned runs because of the ghost runners. But yeah, Holmes and Ferguson were the only who allowed runs. And then Boone, Boone in the bottom of the 11th inning, goes with the intentional walk to Marino. Arizona only had a pitcher to go to, so I was hoping that Boone would signal the intentional walk. I don't know if it was him who thought of it or maybe some of his assistants were like, hey, dude, they got a pitcher left. So regardless, he went to it, and thankfully we got lucky with that call on the outside edge too for strike 3. But the Yankees will win. I want to talk about Rodon, and we'll do that when we get back from our first break. So stay with us here. Stay with us on BD4 episode 657. We'll be right back.
Hey there, thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Episode 657 of the podcast. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe to the show. Episode 657 of BD4. Let's go and hand out our let's go tip our caps to Carlos Rodon. I thought he deserved it from this series. Carlos Rodon went 5 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs, 95 pitches. Got the no decision. I was contemplating over whether I wanted to give this to Rodon or if I wanted to tip my cap to Luis Gil. But I usually favor the guy who goes longer into the game, deeper into the game. And also, Carlos Rodon pitched with a lot more pressure, being the score was much tighter than when Luis Gil had himself a little bit of a lead. But I thought Rodon was okay. I thought he was good. Couple blips, the second inning home run to Alexander, the 5th inning home run to Marte. He got some help later in the game by Corbin Carroll on the base paths, doing stupid shit. Was that with Rodon in? I don't remember. But I thought he was fine. The one thing I think I enjoyed was seeing him diversify his pitch mix in this game. His four-seamer, he had a little more, not that he used the four-seamer less, but as he got deeper into the game, the second time through, he went to it less. He was 62% overall with it in this game, and it continues to look good velo-wise. The velo is still around 96, 97, 98. The location is still a little bit iffy, which is unfortunate because, again, that's the most important part of his game is fastball location. Hit that spot fastball high because his slider plays off his heat. He threw his slider today about 18% of the time. And then what I liked, again, was that he mixed it up beyond that. It wasn't just fastball slider. He was more cutter heavy. He was about 11% with the cutter. Now, Arizona was hitting it pretty hard. But Rodon, I think his mindset was he wanted to pitch to contact more with the cutter on purpose to get through to get through innings, to be more efficient. He wanted to throw more strikes because Arizona was biting on that fastball. So if he was throwing that for a strike, they were hitting it. That's how both of his home runs happened. Both of those homers came off the four-seamer. So I think he was trying to throw the cutter more for strikes, to just pitch to contact and get outs off it. He was also 5% change and 4% curve. So his 3 tertiary off-speed pitches, cutter, change, curve, he threw 20% of the time versus throwing his slider 18% of the time. So that was kind of the difference there. He's usually 60, 30, 10, right? He was more even there with his secondaries today, which I liked. He wasn't missing bats a ton, but he got a lot of pop-ups. I still want to see him get his first dominant start out of the way, his first $162 million start out of the way. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy who goes deep into games. That's never been who he was. But if he can give you 6+, 6 1/3, that'd be great. I'm still waiting for that outing. Because just with Nestor, the way he is right now, Rodon being fine, like I'm still waiting for, because I don't have much faith with Nestor. I'm still waiting for Rodon to break out so I can be like, okay, I'm more comfortable. But it is early, right? And considering who the Yankees have just had to pitch to, Houston is, they were a top 5 offense last season. Arizona was top half in the MLB. It's only April. We'll give it time. But a good first start of the year, or a good second start of the year for Carlos Rodon to improve his ERA on the year to 2.79 across 2 starts, 9 2/3 innings. But we'll see. I'm still kind of seeing some of the same things from last year, which I don't want to say concern me, but I'm keeping an eye on that. Where else do we want to go? If we transition to the lineup, it cooled off this series for sure. I think it's starting to become an unfortunate trend. Something I'm going to keep my eye on is these ground balls. we keep hitting into double plays. The Yankees now have hit into 11 double plays, which is tied with the 0-7 Marlins for the most in Major League Baseball. So that's not good. I would like for the New York Yankees to get the ball in the air more. Maybe if this becomes a problem, you put more speed at the top of the order so it's not Glaber, Judge, Soto, Rizzo. 3 slow men all in a row. 4. So, the Volpe thing I would love eventually. Maybe they steal more to prevent these double plays, but they're not the fastest nor the slowest team, but they're not. I don't know, man. These double plays are rough. At the end of the day, they're not horrible with runners in scoring position. So maybe stealing more would be good. They're 264 on the year. That's 16th. But yeah, it's just going to come down to other guys contributing, because a lot of the guys outside of Soto, Volpe, and Oswaldo, nobody else has really been on from game 1 to game 7, right? Judge, he's going to come around, right? Today was kind of a good sign. Glaber Torres had himself a good series, so hopefully that's more to come. I trust him. He had an 800 OPS last year. He's in a contract year. I think he'll be fine at worst. Verdugo, again, maybe this is a good sign, but we haven't gotten much production from him. Rizzo has been so-so. 2 hits today. I am hoping his offense comes around. I'm going to give it time before I worry, but he's not hitting fastballs at the moment. And his defense has also been a little lackluster, which is odd. Austin Wells, he's young. I'm curious to see what he looks like as he starts to play more games in Yankee Stadium. So his first game will be probably Saturday, being that there is a lefty on the mound on Friday, Kikuchi. So that's an interesting thing. I want him to get more at-bats. Right now it seems like it's 50-50 with Wells and Trevino. I think the more you see Wells put up good at-bats, he's probably going to get more playing time, more reps. It seems like, for the most part, it's been a lefty-righty split. There have been some occasions where Trevino has gotten the righty. But I think Trevino is going to see the lefty Kikuchi on Friday. And then with Kevin Gausman, I think on Saturday, probably going to go to Wells. But I would hope eventually if Wells can just keep putting up good at-bats, moving runners over, drawing some walks like he's been, I think we'll see more of a 60-40. And that's usually where the Yankees land tops with their catchers. They like to have somewhat of a platoon. But yeah, he's not really a concern of mine right now. Stanton's a concern of mine. I don't know if it's a concern. It's just like I know who he is at this point. He's been awful. He didn't even play today. Listen, I think he's washed. I've been on this train since at some point last year. I think Stanton's done. I think he's finished. He went 0 for 6 in this series, 5 strikeouts. He's 3 for 20 on the season, 11 strikeouts, which is just ridiculous considering he's had 21 plate appearances, a walk, a homer, and an RBI, which was in garbage time. I think Giancarlo's finished. And at some point, they're going to have to, as much as they want to balance out lefty-righty, lower him in the order. Because he just can't catch up to a fastball anymore. And it's been this way for a couple years. In 2022, he had a 200 batting average against four-seamers. That's 647 pitches he saw. Last season, he had a 198 batting average on four-seamers. He saw 478 of them. This year, he's got a 0 batting average on four-seamers. He's seen 27 of them. He can't hit the fastball anymore. High velo fastballs, mid velo fastballs, low velo fastballs, up in the zone, low in the zone, smack in the middle of the zone. It doesn't matter. He's not hitting fastballs no matter where he's not hitting them. He's not even putting them in play. He's up there sitting off speed. It's bad. Like that's when a guy stops hitting fastballs, that's the sign of somebody being washed. So I think there's not much hope for him. I know people are excited because he hit 3 home runs in an exhibition game at the end of camp, because he came into camp in great shape, baseball shape, Stanton, and all that. He's also 30 whatever years old. He's also been on the decline for the last 3 years. So I'm excited for Dominguez to come back. Like, we need him. That's going to make things interesting. If Stanton's this bad when Dominguez is back, then maybe Verdugo isn't traded like I predicted after all. If Stanton's unplayable still when Dominguez comes back, maybe, Judge or Soto see a lot more DH, and Dominguez sees DH. Like, you can rotate DH with those 3 guys. But, yeah, he's been bad. But, yeah, the bats fell asleep. They haven't really fully awoken yet. They're not hitting a ton of homers, but today it was nice to see them hit 2. But the at-bats against a tough pitching staff were fine, and I expect this offense to eventually wake up 100%. Not that they've been bad, but they cooled off this series, and it's just the ebbs and flow. And I don't think Toronto's pitching staff really impresses me. I know Kikuchi had a good year last year. The 4 seasons he's had prior to that were fucking brutal. I think they can hit him. Gaussman's going to be tough, but I don't know. I think this lineup will produce. It's just the double play ball. You got to stop hitting these balls on the ground. Got to hit line drives. That's got to be fixed. Let's tip our cap to Anthony Volpe. Let's do that. Anthony Volpe this series went 5 for 13, which is a 385 average, a 923 OPS, considering he had 2 doubles. He had an RBI, scored 3 runs, 7 total bases in these 3 games against the Diamondbacks. Man, Anthony Volpe looks very good. Anthony Volpe looks very good. See if I can find this clip. He had his first 4-hit game of his career. There it is on the screen. The first 4-hit game of Anthony Volpe's career here against the Diamondbacks in Game 1 of the series. He has now 3 doubles on the season already. That's a big thing. I would love for Volpe to be a 35-plus doubles guy with that swing, the tweaked swing where it's focused on more line drives and hard contact, a flatter swing. It's going to help him hit doubles. Where the right elbow is a lot closer to his waist at the point of contact than it was last year. I looked on Baseball Savant. His launch angle last year, 14.2 degrees. This year it's down to 10.1 degrees. So he's flattened it for sure. That's a big dip. His K rate is down 5% so far. He's not swinging and missing as much. The whiffs are down. So that all allows for a much more consistent approach. He's going to be able to damage mistake pitches if he keeps this flatter swing path. His 2-strike approach has seen a big improvement too, right? Like last year, he had very tough times hitting that 0-2 off speed. He was early on off speed. He was late on fastballs. He chased a lot of pitches. This year, you're seeing him spit on not just junk, but he's spitting on close pitches, taking tough pitches. His eye looks considerably improved. So Anthony Volpe, I'm excited. Game 1 of this series, when Nelson fed him that slider, it was really nice to see him take that 3-2 slider the opposite way for the double. That man, I don't know, man. I had the same feeling when Glaber got called up. Seeing guys get called, like the young prospects, go the other way, just gives me hope that they can be high on base guys. I had going into the season, I said if Anthony Volpe can get me a 250 average, that's a win. The way he's looking right now, a lot of people think he could be a 270s plus hitter. I don't want to say 300 because it's very rare you get 300 hitters today. There aren't many in the game. But yeah, if he could be a 270s plus, that's an even bigger expectation. But yeah, listen, a lot of people want him leading off, right? It's April, 4th? It's April 4th. April 3rd. And people want him leading off. I would wait. I do too. I want him eventually leading him off. I think that's the type of hitter he can be. Maybe. He's got this tool set, the skills. If he can keep doing this, and let's say he finishes May, maybe he goes to mid-May, and his on base is 350 at the end of May, I think then you make the switch. Unless it gets really, really bad with Torres, but they have other options they can go to even then. But he batted fifth today. With Giancarlo sitting. It was Rizzo cleanup, Volpe fifth, Verdugo sixth. Now, that left the bottom of the order a little shallow with Oswaldo, Wells, and Grisham, 7, 8, 9. So maybe you prefer Rizzo and Verdugo 5-6 or 4-5. But then you're stacking lefties, and you kind of want to balance it out. I guess it just depends on do you prefer balance, or do you prefer balance in the lefty righty way, or do you prefer balance in the 1 to 9 way? I don't know, but I think if he keeps this up for a couple months, then we could see him at leadoff. I want to see it first because he struck out 170 times last year. His on base was 280. I need to see him more than a week. But he's been great, man. He's been great hitting wise. The shortstop's got to improve. He made a few more throwing errors. He's got 2 or 3 on the year. He's throwing sinkers over there. He's got to fix the throw. Last year, a big problem I had with him was his trouble on transfers. But we'll see. I think Anthony Volpe has had such a good start to the season offensively. You ignore that for now. Yeah, he's been great. What else do we have here? Oh, let's go to the bullpen. Might as well just go to the bullpen now and tip our cap to Ian Hamilton. Ian Hamilton's a dog, man. This guy's fun. 2 2/3 innings. He only pitched one game in the series. He pitched today, game 3. He went 2 2/3, no runs, no hits, no walks, struck out 4. Just his ability to give you multiple innings like that is such a value. He works quickly. He's very aggressive. He's attacking. His stuff looks great. His fastball sitting 96, 97. He puts a little arm side run to it. That 2-seamer that just moves so nicely. And he's, of course, he's got that Slombio pitch, which is filthy. That slider with a low spin rate. Some people call it a change-up slider. Other people, Cohn was calling it more of a splitter and a slider, split change. It's whatever it is. It's a nice pitch, and it gets whiffs. He's been good. This dude's been so reliable for the Yankees. He comes here last year as this nobody. I never heard of him. Most Yankees fans probably never heard of him. And he's just another example of Cashman finding a diamond in the rough and Matt Blake doing good work with him. And he's been so good to where I remember the conversation I was having last year at some point was we should move Ian Hamilton into that 9th inning closer role. He's got the intimidating look. He's just so super efficient, though. He doesn't fuck around. He's a strikeout pitcher who doesn't put traffic on the bases. And I think he'd fit perfectly in that role with Clay Holmes being as bad as he's been. Not as bad as he's been, as concerning as he can look at times. Now, going with Ian Hamilton out of the bullpen, do you lose that value of the multiple innings? Yeah, you do. You don't get that guy who can pitch you 2 2/3. But just like the Clay Holmes ups and downs, man, I don't know. It's odd because the numbers say he's an elite closer, and I like to believe that he is. But there's just the trust, again, off the stat sheet, just watching, the trust factor is not there. He gets a lot of ground balls as a sinker ball pitcher, right? But a lot of those lead to infield hits, soft contact hits, dribblers, choppers, grounders that find holes. Right? John Boy made a good point on the pod today. The Yankees call that bad luck. But the type of pitcher Holmes is, he generates bad luck contact, and it's just not working. He puts traffic on the bases, and sometimes he doesn't have full command of that slider and sinker, and he'll hit a batter. He'll walk a batter. I can't envision Clay Holmes securing Game 7 of a World Series. That just terrifies me. So I feel like Hamilton misses a ton of bats. Lasagna gets a lot of ground balls too. I don't know that I trust him because he puts traffic on and sometimes can get hit hard. Birdie's impressing. Maybe Nick Birdie, if you don't want to lose the multiple innings value of Hamilton, maybe Nick Birdie, if he continues to show what he's been doing, can eventually close for the Yankees team. He's got some filthy stuff, man. But, again, this is kind of why I wanted Josh Hader, but we won't go there. But at the end of the day, the pitching staff overall has gotten the damn thing done. We are 7 games in, and despite the concerns, the Yankees overall pitching and starting pitching and relief pitching have combined for the 5th best ERA in baseball. Their starters have the 4th best. Their starters have the 14th best ERA. But that's exactly getting the job done, right? Luis Heel had a good first start. Nestor, Cortez, and Rodon. That again concerns me, but they've gotten by for now. Marcus Stroman looked excellent in his first start against Houston. I'm actually excited for him, man. Like I said, I think this guy's due for a big year. Stroman's got Toronto on Friday. That's a very right-handed lineup. Him in Yankee Stadium, I think will be fine because he uses that sinker. Goes into the right-hander. So yeah, they're 14th in ERA with their rotation. They're 4th in ERA in the bullpen. That's not a shock to me. Random names or star-studded names like they've had in the past, they just get it done. It's an elite bullpen. Again, you've gotten shaky outings from Holmes. You've gotten some help from your defense. Victor Gonzalez hasn't exactly been great. Everybody else has been pretty to very good. And I expect that to continue. So, with that said, I think we'll head to our final break. We'll get back, and we'll wrap it up with our trivia. Stay with us here on episode 657 of BD4. Be right back.
You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
All right. Welcome back to the show, episode 657 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. I'm your host, RJ. And with that said, we're going to wrap this up with our trivia question of the day. All right. So this episode, our trivia question of the day is, which 1970s Yankees outfielder was known for his nonsensical quotes like "Me and George and Billy are two of a kind"? Which 1970s Yankees outfielder was known for his nonsensical quotes like "Me and George and Billy are two of a kind"? This can be a trick question to those of you who aren't great with your Yankees history. It can sound like a trick question. But that's it. That's all we got for this show. We're about 52 minutes in, so I'll wrap it up here. Thank you all for tuning in to episode 657 of BD4, Talk a Little Yankees. Heading home on a great note. So, like I said, don't let this team be good this year because I'm going to be such a dick. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!